Welcome back, friends, to another Ark 100 Days playthrough. Like my first 100 Days challenge doing the island, of course now we're on ASA, I will be attempting to defeat both the Broodmother and Megapithecus bosses by the end of this challenge. However, this time things are going to be a little different. This time I'm changing up the challenge where I will have a series of game progression objectives to complete. Every objective completed will grant me a bunch of creatures that I am able to tame, like unlocking a new skill set. All the objectives in this video, as well as creature unlocks, will be available in a Google Doc in the description. Otherwise, I will be explaining every objective and new tames for each one when they come up in the video. On top of this, I will also have a ton of mods downloaded, including Dino Edition, Super Spyglass, No Untameables, and others. These are also listed in the description. That said, get yourself some snacks, strap in, and let's begin our adventure into the buggy hellscape that is Ark Ascended. Starting off with day 1, I chose my spawn point where I thought was the north of the swamplands, but you know, the middle of the swamp works too. All I can say about that whole experience is that it went off dashingly. I tried to get a better spawn point again, and again. It keeps putting me in the swamp. Until finally, I get a safe spawn point. I booked it away from the swamp, which was still right next to me, but now I could actually focus on surviving and actually progressing. So my first objective to complete was to survive for half a day. Easy enough under normal circumstances. While I was doing all of the basics, I ran into something very, very tiny. This speck on the ground was probably the most adorable creature I've ever seen, so obviously I could break my own rules to tame it, right? Technically, half a day had already passed, but I did spend most of the beginning dying a lot. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself for this one. It took me all of about 20 minutes for me to break my own rules. But don't worry about that though, Ark always has my back. Yeah, I suppose I get what I get for that one.
What to make of it? Add in the human factor, and it's impossible for this island to continue as it is by natural means. So, what?
That night I wanted out. I got myself enough levels to get a raft engram and started work on that. Herbivore Island was not far away from where it was, so that was my next location. And now that my first objective was completed, I could start taming these creatures. There was another major problem I had to deal with now, however, and that was crashing. Not only was the Ark environment out to get me, but the game inherently was too. As soon as I got to the island and started cutting down trees and making my way in the world, the game crashes and I have to do all of it all over again. This is an issue that does get better the longer in the playthrough, but it was much a problem at the moment. Despite the setback, I did get to start prowling the island for a base spot. After walking all the way around it, there was really only one good option, and that was a little clearing in the middle surrounded by cliffs. For now, my next objective would be to secure a first base spot and basic tools. And hey, looks like I got that objective already. These are the creatures I can now tame. Now, my next objective was to build my first house, so that was... Never mind, let's crash first. What do I do wrong? Anyway, it looks like I'm more interested in finding a para or a dilo first. Specifically, a para would be nice, or really anything I could ride. Ooh.
Oh lord.
So, that was really sad. We went home after that. By the end of the day, I ended up with 2 Dilos anyways. Both were very low level. Oh, and I died from hypothermia in the night despite having 2 campfires and a torch. So I'm just gonna say that it was a glitch. Ark would never purposely screw me over. That's never happened before. Anyways, the next morning I packed up my dialos and headed for the mainland again. At this point, I had turned on maximum difficulty and wiped the world before we left, since the levels I was finding were complete ass.
Target acquired.
I went back to the mainland since Herbivore Island is boring as shit and I didn't want to wipe the whole place of trees just to build my base. As you'll see later, I am a massive fan of trees. I spotted a raptor pack while I was exploring and one was a level 135. Their baby wasn't, unfortunately, but no big deal. I just wanted a decent raptor, imprint buff or not. God, I sound like a psychopath with this new method of taming. Once I found out I couldn't bring my raft into the mainland, I scrapped that idea and kept looking along the shoreline. Took me a bit, but I did find something. This creature was just way too compelling for me not to tame, and I honestly thought it was adorable. But as soon as I did tame it, I realized this would not work because it would eventually become an adult, and that wasn't following my rules, so I just needed to put my overpowering maternal instincts away and get rid of it. I did walk away with a raptor, but not a good level by any means, but it was something. Overall, a bit of a disappointing day. Day 5, I left the island early in the morning, where I then finally found a decent leveled adult raptor. And, well, I guess it was the new alpha. My itch for a bit of exploration was bothering me, so I set off to explore the area I first spawned in before. Who knows, maybe there will be a good drop or an explorer note. A second para is always good. How about another
Fucking crash.
It's okay. We'll keep going then. That's okay. These things happen. Everybody has their breaking point, and I always felt like mine was infinite when it comes to Ark, but hoo boy, does it push that point to the very edge sometimes. My new raptor, Ruby, was the alpha of the pack now, which I was excited about. She seemed like a fine young gal with dreams and ambitions. She was the kind of raptor you could count on when things went sideways, or an adventure was to be had. After that very successful outing, I got what I really wanted, which is a third raptor to add to Ruby's pack. Day 7 was building day. Well, it was more like cutting down trees day. I had a roof and a second level to finish, then I could move on to being able to tame a pteranodon. Not only was I knocking over trees on Herbie Island, but the Brontos got rid of more than I ever did, including the giant drungle tree I purposely kept up for good looks. And then I had to watch helplessly as it knocked over the other perfectly placed tree in front of my house. My house! It was practically a barren wasteland now, so obviously the punishment for that crime was death. Despite this incredible loss, I needed to move on. I bred my raptors and got a couple twins. Now Ruby's pack looked like a proper one. My house was also basically finished. I could now tame pteranodons and all of these creatures too. It was going to be a while until my pteranodon was ready to explore the island, so to make that process go faster, I packed up Ruby's pack to help find the PT and the new raptor some easy XP. Of course, I did a little more than just get a new PT, some levels, but really there was no detriment for taking another decent leveled raptor, so I did it. And apparently I should have been more patient in taming a Pteranodon because that night I found some great levels. Like, I don't think I could have gotten any luckier. On day 9, I could finally ditch my raft and get to the mainland by air rather than by water. We went slowly since I wanted to look for something, anything I could tame that I haven't yet. One animal was on top of my list though, and that was an iguanodon. The one I found was in the worst spot though, everything dangerous was around, but luckily we handled it. I won't lie though, it was a stressful time waiting for it to tame. It wasn't until I tamed it did I realize just how far away it was from base. This would have to be a rescue mission by water. Just in case everything went sideways, I made sure Ruby and her gang went with me, and sure enough, escaping the Delta was a close call.
Oh man! Oh god! Oh man! Oh god!
My next objective was an interesting one, and that was to make a full set of primitive metal tools and upgrade my crossbow to at least journeyman. I have a mod in place that allows me to make an upgrade station and use resources to, well, upgrade to a higher tiered weapon. Once I was finished fixing up my house a little, making it look prettier, I headed out on one of my highest leveled PTs. We flew around trying to find explorer notes, but ultimately settled on taming a 120 frog. Why, may you ask? Well, also I thought it would help with travel and taming. On day 11, I made myself a full set of metal primitive tools, minus a sword. Those don't count because I said so. And also, I don't use them. I also had myself an upgrade station at this point, since why wait on upgrading when I could have more things to tame? More things to tame means more stuff to do and more stuff you guys get to see. And then profit, or something. I'm trying to monetize this video, by the way, like and subscribe! I didn't have enough resources to actually upgrade to journeyman. In fact, I didn't even get past primitive. So here I am exploring the rivers while my metal smelted. Not sure what I was doing. It's hard to tell until I ran across an otter. Near the end of my exploring, I encountered a cave, which immediately drowned me in green night vision filter number 5, which kinda scared me, so I didn't go any further. Anyways, overnight I had my crossbow upgraded to journeyman, so now I can tame all of these creatures. On top of that, I also made a set of fur gear, meaning I could make a trip to the snow biome. I was mostly interested in the rivers that went through the snow biome since I wanted a baryonyx for cave runs.
What the?
That said, I spent the rest of day 12 looking through the tropical rivers and swamps first, since there was a higher probability of finding one in those places. And we came up with nothing. The next day, it was more baryonyx searching. Again, it was a whole lot of nothing for a long time. I did grab another otter since I had bad luck with keeping them alive in the past. Eventually, I got bored looking and got into the ocean, where I thought an Ichthyornis would be a helpful way to ease into ocean life. Oh, and while I'm here putting a bit more detail into my house, my next objective is to make a long neck rifle and flak gear. Day 3 of looking for a baryonyx. At this point, I had been getting bored of my base spot as well. There's no excitement, no stakes where I live, and I have to fly or sail over to the mainland every day. It was tiring at this point, so I also spent some time looking around for new base spots. There was an interesting spot with a bunch of hidey holes and tunnels, which was cool. The only problem was the actual base building part. And this spot didn't have the best places for that, but I'm also not a very creative builder, so that's something to consider. Again, I never found a good baryonyx, but I did like the idea of a Sarco, so I tamed one of those instead. There, now I feel better about my life. Day 15, I made my long neck rifle. Yes, I am realizing how fast I was getting through these objectives, but don't worry folks, one of those future objectives is to build a second base house, and that takes me a while. I didn't use my rifle yet since I didn't have a lot of ammo to work with, and I would rather save it for something big and special. Day 15 was also my first proper day out at sea, which I immediately veered away from to explore the swamp. Here, I tamed not only another frog and a Sarco, but I finally got my baryonyx. It only took me 4 days to find. No big deal.
You would not believe your eyes. You would not believe your eyes.
The next day, I decided I should make my raft look pretty. I had been using it for a while now, and it was still just a plain old plank of wood and a rotor. So, in order to beat the basic raft bitch allegations, I started work on some kind of weird spaceship looking thing. I wanted to have a normal boat-shaped boat, but in pursuit of making the largest surface space I could get, it ended up looking more like that. Despite the weirdness of it, the boat was actually pretty functional. It has me excited for maps like the Center and Crystal Isles where a seagoing life would be the most fun. And hopefully by that time my building skills will be a lot better. Oh hey, my entire boat is vanished.
What the hell is even that?
Guess I'm never building a raft again. Never mind, it was just invisible. Cheeky bugger. A second base spot was still on my mind, so I went out and ran into some cool little ruins within the valley between the volcano and another mountain. That was pretty cool to find, but my eyes were set on this bad boy, stuck under the ice, because there was no other warmer rivers for it to be in. No, this guy wanted to risk wolves, Uties, and Daedons for that Arctic salmon, which, honestly, touché. Bringing this guy back had me realize that no, I don't actually like Ark's new AI system.
Use your brain! Use your brain! Use your brain! The thing in your head!
It's kinda smart until you hit a couple rocks or trees that they could just walk over, but God forbid we think critically around here. Well, at least I got to use my new spaceship raft to bring him back to base. Overnight, I made flak gear, which made me eligible to tame these creatures. Now my next objective was to upgrade said flak armor and make a fabricator. Marlowe, my first baryonyx, was fully healed now and could get me through cave runs, and to say the least, he was pretty good at it. The next time I loaded in, Turkey Trials was available, so what better to do with that information than to ignore your past goals, like getting extra artifacts to go kill some super turkeys. Though I did get a pretty good process down, and I call my strategy, how long can you fight this turkey without getting nauseous challenge impossible? Don't worry though, I did get some extra artifacts as well as 7 wishbones. I could make a hat with that, maybe. Day 20 was barely a day, really. I made some progress in upgrading flat gear as well as a berry saddle. Then I went around looking at drops and also tamed a dodo. Riveting, I know. But soon I abandoned it to the mountains and went to find a bit of oil and also found a wolf to tame. Later on there was an Anki as well, and I waited all night to tame that.
This is fine.
I wasn't done there yet because you can't just have one wolf, you've gotta make it a pack. Me and my 2 wolves made our way down the mountain, more than a little precariously, which literally bit us in the ass. So, make a note of that shit, people. Wolves are powerful. The next day we left with a Carno and an extra Anki. Now that I had a carnivore larger than a baryonyx, I might be able to tackle super turkeys better. And before you ask, no, we're not fighting the Dodo Rex. I have nothing to fight it with. And oh, never mind, we left with a Carno, 2 Ankis, a wolf, and a baryonyx, because why the fuck not? It was right there. Oh, and guess what? I did half of another objective. May or may not need to update this challenge for the next video. Oh, looky, the last part of my objective is complete. These are my new available tames. It's only day 22 if you can believe it. My next objective now was to choose and secure a second base location, but before that I wanted to make some more progress on the artifacts, so I gathered my best guys to help fight our way over to the foot of the volcano, where we could get the second artifact required for the Broodmother fight.
Domesticated Araniomorphus makes an excellent guardian creature.
Again, in the middle of finding artifacts, I found fighting super turkeys was more interesting than just waiting around. Especially now that my Carno can just do this. This definitely felt a little bit illegal, but at the same time, I wasn't about to go complaining. Then, with the third of the second artifact gathered, it was time to go home. Literally, I never thought killing super turkeys could be this easy. Rhino is a boss already and I just got her. I was killing a lot of turkeys, but all I really wanted was a little hat that you could put on your dinos. Hot take, I know, but there should be more options for dino costumes in these events. The next cave I needed to prepare for was the lava cave, which would be best run if I made some grappling hooks just in case, as well as some building materials. Why jump when you could just ramp like a Fortnite dweeb? No offense to Fortnite dweebs. Immediately walking into this place gave me the ick. Smoky air with jet black igneous stone spelled possible fiery death at any wrong move. Even the enemies in this place were covered in soot. I was pretty sure I knew the way to the artifact, but I still found myself staring at a fork trying to remember if it was left or right. I built my little safety ramps and started to feel more confident, perhaps too confident because moments afterwards, disaster struck. I swear I pressed spacebar at the right time, but I guess not well enough. It was possible my berry and otter were still alive, but when we got there, nothing. No bodies or anything, they were just gone. By the end of the day, I had my artifact plus 2 extras. With that, I had most of the requirements for Alpha Broodmother. I only needed to stock up on the other trophies beforehand. And yeah, after that whole situation, I felt like it was time to pack up and head off to my second base location. I didn't bring all of my tames with me. I left my ocean dwellers, sarcos, and extra paras and dilos behind. I had chosen my next base spot already. Now my only issue was securing it for my tames to safely be there. Which, little did I know, this spot would be under constant attack. But that is an issue for another day. In the meantime, time, I wanted an Argy, which would mean my tames would be sitting out in the water for a bit longer. And why stop there? This 135 beckons to be tamed.
What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
The next time I logged in, I had yet another boat glitch. More like tames on the boat glitched, but something tells me this abomination of a build had something to do with it. 2 of my flyers had disappeared into thin air, including my red and black Argy and 1 PT. It took me until sunset to ever think that they had been teleported hundreds of feet above the land. It's like so obvious now that I've rewatched it. I'm just glad I didn't lose a perfectly good Argy to the whims of ASA bugs. I figured that the second base spot was pretty secure even without me being there. The last time I looked, there was a total of 3 creatures, all of them peaceful herbivores, so I concluded that my objective was complete and I could tame these creatures. One that I immediately went to tame was a Ceratosaurus, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made this playthrough. Yeah, anyway, I dropped my first tame into the new base spot and realized that inside the ruins were pretty safe, but outside, danger was constant. I just held my breath and started placing down some foundations, at the very least to claim my spot. After all, my next objective would be to build my second house. I really didn't do a lot though, and instead I had a small test run of my new Cerato. While running around like this, I concluded that instead of something like the classic Megatherium, I was gonna try Ceratosaurus to take down the Broodmother. Once I was finally done messing around, in the early morning of day 29, I started the trek to my base. I had every tame secured in the general vicinity, but there was still an issue of transferring all my stuff to the base. This would have to wait until I had some proper foundations and storage built. One little thing at a time, I guess. Let's tame this Carno that I don't need instead.
Right here. All your needs will be met.
I'm hungry!
In a minute!
My first priority in building my next base was to make it easy for me to get up and down from the ruins to the valley below. Then pest control. Ants belong on the outside of your house, unless you want them as pets, I guess.
Rumor has it that there's some woman that's tamed a whole mess of them, all by herself. So many that they call her the Beast Queen of the Jungle. Maybe she'll have some useful insights.
It is always a good day when you finally get a stone collector. Moving on, I started my base building by getting essentials like a forge, smithy, storage boxes, etc. Then I placed down some spike walls, which of course all animals within a 5-mile radius would now be beelining towards it to get skewered. At the moment, all was calm, and I also got a new boyfriend for Grace, since the last one kinda forgot how to breathe. Oh, and I got this little guy too, and while I was taming that, I realized something. And that was the fact that the baryonyx and otter I lost to the lava cave were still showing up on my tracking list. Almost like they were still alive or something. And I thought, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense unless they somehow glitched up into the sky like my other tame. They definitely went up somewhere, and before anyone freaks out because I'm using cheats to get my berry out of the wall, just know that my philosophy is I am allowed to fix a situation using cheats only if the game glitched or had some kind of bug that started it in the first place. And I'm pretty sure your tames flying up to the sky after you die to lava is not an intentional feature, even if it did save my tames' lives. Okay, with that out of the way, happy holidays everyone! It's July while I'm saying this, but it's winter wonderland in this world, so I'm saying it anyways. Now was the time when I started to realize my base was not safe. The spike walls helped a lot despite the fact that everything wanted to die on them, but I needed more. Day 33, I took a break to get some drops from raptor claws. After that, I finished up my defenses by giving all the gateways doors. Then I looked for a Ceratosaurus mate for Dart. No! 420 damage! Hurry, hit you! No, come here! Oh my god, where is it going? No, come back! There's one! Come here, you little rascal! Not my first choice for a breeding male, but it was the only one I found, so here they are, my army starters, Dart and Rhubarb. Presents! Yay! Oh my god. Ah, may you never change, Ark. Except in this one moment that is still so annoying. Rhubarb was looking good despite being a much lower level than Dart. I just figured I would breed Dart stats into the army and hopefully their colors too. Rhubarb, I'm sorry, you just don't make the cut. Also, what do you guys think of my new fit? And this dog? Is it Skibbity? Day 35, I picked the top part of the ruins to build my house, while the bottom middle would be reserved for hatching eggs and other things. I wasn't actually sure. The plan was just to fill the whole spot in the ruins with stone foundations, making the whole area usable. That evening, the platform for my house was finished, though I was pretty much done with most of it since I intended on not building a roof here and reserving that for the middle bit.
Happy Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Crisis. Merry Chrysler.
Day 36, man. What to say about this day? I made some gunpowder and bred my Ceratos for like the 5th time. The only really noteworthy thing I did was knock out a Theory, which I should have a long time ago. I was struggling with wood gathering.
3 weeks later.
Would you look at that view? What a day to be alive. I just love grinding non-stop and getting stuck in ceilings and alpha raptors destroying my shit. Yep, that's all I have to say about this day.
Here they am! Santa's coming to town!
Santa! Oh my god!
Got some more good old trank darts to start off the day and reinforce the spike wall a little bit more. I was pretty tired of watching things attack and break through my spike walls, so I went on a building spree to set up a wall on the inner side of the spikes. I really couldn't tell you anything more interesting about this, so here's another montage. You're welcome. I worked into day 39, which Ark rewarded me by starting off my day like this. Thanks, Ark! I then continued to work on my wall until I was finished with it. I even made sure to place some wooden pillars around the gateways that led to the outside, so I wouldn't accidentally run through the wrong one and get a face full of spikes. Next most important thing is testing my tames against trees to see if they would deforest the area if I let them loose. It is very important to me that I do not lose the natural appeal of my base. I ended the day by knocking out a Daedon. of whom I named Bonsai. No, I haven't seen that movie. Overnight, I started more work on my base house, now trying to figure out the walls and the roof part that I need. It took me a while to actually get it to start working, and dare I say it, I kinda like this look so far. It's giving dwarvish she-shed. There really seems to be some kind of allure to the spike walls that not even tamed creatures can resist, since this guy was inside of the base the last time I saw him. It's just disappointing more than anything. Rip Olin, he was a fine guy. Day 41, I built a little spot to hatch eggs from, which I couldn't even do because heat wave. Great, it's not like I have 20 eggs just sitting around waiting to be hatched or anything like that. Not to worry, the heat went away and I could finally hatch some Ceratosaurus. I wonder if there'll be any good— oh my god, triplets? The fuck? This was when I learned that babies, despite their species, will have very odd requests for food. I was just extremely lucky that none of these guys asked for kibble. I did get them to full imprinting though, and we had 3 out of the 18 Ceratos that I needed for the Broodmother. Now that I knew what I was doing, it was time for some Jingle Bell grinding, which resulted in a bit of Jingle Bell and Jingle Bell. As you do in Ark. Then I put up a bunch of Christmas lights to fill a hole in my life. Nothing like killing more Ceratos because they don't have the 27 melee that you need to put you in the holiday spirit. Also, did you know that Ovis can have babies in the wild? That's crazy. I decided it was about time to start looking for a Yeti, so I flew around the snow biome for a while, saw a Yeti and a 135 male Megaloceros. I didn't have one yet, and I always thought they looked cool. Only in real life though, these guys desperately need a TLC. For now, they just filled space, I guess. Day 44, I got more Ceratos with the melee that I wanted, and yes, I could have just bred one of the triplets with Dart and got the melee with every egg, but I guess I didn't think of that in this moment. Yeah, I really don't have any other excuse. I may be stupid sometimes. I did have one of them ask for exceptional kibble, which I didn't have, but I looked at the health and thought it might still be okay, so I left it.
Wrong.
And technically it was fine, but the fact that this one wasn't up to match with all the others really bothered me. Also, this is another day where I almost do nothing of interest except raise baby Ceratos, so here, have a montage to make things go faster. Day 46, I got rid of the Winter Wonderland event. Sorry folks, it was almost end of the school year at this point, and I needed to do it. Who's a little guy who came out with a color mutation? Yes, you are! I should mention that my objective to build my second house was finished, which allows me to tame these creatures. Now my next objective was to build a cliff platform or a bridge across somewhere and make a shotgun plus ammo. I am saying this now because I'm apparently making shotgun ammo on this day and working on gathering resources for a tree platform. So much for trying to slow myself down. Yeah, that didn't take long for me to make. We had another issue with bugs when I came back. Little gal was pushed through the floor somehow while I was gone. Maybe it will fix itself when she grows up, right?
I am bolted to the floor currently.
Guess we're using magic to fix this again. Yeah, there we go. It's like nothing happened. Well, would you look at that, here are my next set of tames. My next objective is to upgrade to shotgun to apprentice and successfully grow plants to fruitlings. Oh, and who's at the door? What the fuck? I'm not entirely sure what to tell you about this other than my naturalistic base was completely screwed. And what could I do? Fight it in the middle of my base? It would stomp once and take out everything. To make things worse, due to the natural cliffs and walls I had built, it was stuck. Though not completely, because it eventually did move away so I could hit it and lead it away from destroying everything I ever made and loved. Peace at last, my god. That said, my base was once again a barren wasteland, although the trees directly inside of my house were unharmed. If I had lost those, I might have actually moved somewhere else, I'm not gonna lie. I spent the rest of the day failing to tame a horse. Day 49 was a good day. Double mutation and melee baby was born, hoping and praying this one doesn't ask for kibble, and we're good. I went to start working on a greenhouse in the redwoods, but instead snagged this feisty gal. 140, don't mind if I do. Late into the night, I grabbed an Anki to gather some crystal for my greenhouse. I chose a volcano, but there really wasn't much to actually see. That's okay, we'll just hang around until it goes away then. Put down a few walls, and no, I had no clue what I was doing, I was just assuming this would match up eventually. I knew I would need a boatload of cementing paste, so I thought I would try gathering it by setting my frogs on the chitin cave. It didn't go as well as planned. After everything, our results were I was also starting to feel a bit overcrowded in my base, so I led my Ceratosaurus army out to the other side of the gates, intending on closing this area up at some point too. But not today. Today I continue on my failure of a greenhouse that had no end goal in mind at all.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
Kept going on my streak of luck with no gigas or carcars spawning in the volcano, then stubbornly marched forward on a project I knew fully well didn't look good. Oh, and I upgraded my shotgun to apprentice. Day 52, one of my Ceratos asked for cooked prime fish meat, but I didn't have that either. But this time, instead of killing it, I went and got prime fish meat from the river. See, I'm getting better. I was ramping up egg hatching today, so I figured my new Thyla Piper could use some hunting experience. The next day, I placed down a water tank at my base, thinking that this greenhouse was probably going to take a while, so I should try to grow something here as well. And look at this double mutation health Cerato with the double mutation melee. That's actually crazy. As soon as this guy was an adult, I started to breed him, not that I was going to replace all of the previous Ceratos with his offspring, but it would be good to have a few of them on the team. With the way I play the game, those extra mutations aren't super necessary in this case. The next day, I had a few growing plants, but nothing was fruiting yet. On top of that, I finally got the 18th Cerato that I needed for the Broodmother fight. Then I went and got myself 2 dung beetles to help gather fertilizer, since before I was making do with regular ass shat. That night, I looked into one of my crop plots and saw that my plants were fruitlings now. These are the new creatures I can now tame. Now that I had nothing to raise anymore, I needed to keep myself busy, so off I went, back to the monstrosity of glass and miserable dreams. I thought it might be cool to add a little wall for my Thyla to climb up to the platform, that way I could turn this spot into a proper little redwood space as well. This idea almost saved it, to be honest. I think it's really cool. I added a few more plant species to my wall farm and also placed the dung beetles in optimal places for crap collecting and distributing. Also, what do you think of my new dog? Is it Skibbity? Day 56, I spotted a fiend hanging out in the snow biome. I didn't want it wandering into my base like the last one did, so here I am trying to kill it. Surely from here it won't run into my base, there's no possible, oh my god. So, yeah, I was lucky this one didn't decide to destroy everything, even though it was aggroed whilst inside of my base and stepping on spikes. Again, I had to wait until it figured its way out of my base on its own. Then I tag teamed it as best I could with my Argies. The river was a good kill zone the last time, so we let it there. And again, this took a long time. At least I got to tame this level 95 Yudi, which was an easy tame because it was being stupid. With that, the last piece of my army was complete. Now it was just a matter of waiting for everything to be properly leveled and healed, as well as upgrading saddles a few levels would be nice too. The next day, I flew back over to Herbie Island where I started this whole thing, intent on making sure everyone I left there was still alive and healthy. For the most part, they all just needed a bit more food. And then I hopped on a Sarco to go seashell hunting. And needless to say, the fog effect underwater is completely terrifying. That is all I can take for now. Ziggy the Yudi got her saddle, a second Daedon was tamed, and I was happy for the time being. Now that I was a little bit past halfway through the challenge, I started thinking about what I would need for the Megapithecus fight. I knew the toughest thing to get would be the artifact of the Brute, which unfortunately resides in an underwater cave. I thought some backup would be good for that adventure, so I went out looking for Megalodons. I don't think I'll ever get used to the way this place was ambush hell, but at least it was beautiful. I inadvertently swam into a water cave, but kept going thinking it was the easier one with the artifact of the Brute. Oh boy, that was a heart attack and a half. Yeah, I'm gonna need an army. Back home, I switched priorities quickly to upgrading saddles. This would be important if I wanted to fight the Broodmother multiple times in a limited time that I had. Day 60, I was back on the island trying to get a better Megalodon for breeding, of which I needed to abandon to get prime meat and ended up losing it for like 10 minutes. Eventually, I just caved and turned the fog off so I could actually see. I ended the session after taming this guy and then proceeded to take a 4-month break to focus on finals and then work on the video. Within that time, a lot changed. Most notably, the Dino Additions mod had a few creatures that became vanilla. So what did I do? I wanted to be more efficient, so I got rid of the Ceratosaurus mod. I don't remember why I put these other Ceratos. Where did they go? Where did my Ceratos go? Apparently, vanilla Ceratos are completely different from the mod version. So screw the last 9 days of progress, because in order to fix this mistake I had to revert back to an earlier backup, which again set me back to day 51. So this time around I did do a lot of things differently. I'll go through the most important things quickly for time's sake. Also, you may notice that all of my Ceratos are bleached white. I believe that is a problem with the modded creatures errors and not entirely a result of me backing up the server, but who knows, there seem to be a few new issues, which I'll get into that later. All you really need to know about what I did is that I started making Mastercraft Ceratosaurus saddles a lot earlier and managed to get all of them ready by day 60. I made a wall around my Ceratos so they would stop being attacked by things. I didn't have a Yudi because I couldn't find one. I also didn't have a second Daedon or a third Megalodon. Other than that, everything is more or less the same. After many hours of catching up, here we go again at day 60.
I never imagined that I'd find such wonders within. Granted, I don't know what this specific wonder does exactly, but it's fascinating to examine, and it's constantly pulsing with some sort of latent energy. What is it?
So, yeah, I copied what I did the last time this happened and tamed Megalodons. You'll also notice that the quality of the video at the moment is a bit worse. That was my bad. I tried changing things in OBS and every time I attempt doing that, something goes wrong. But don't worry, it will get better later. The next day, I realized I needed more Sarco skin for the Broodmother, so out I went, killed a couple, and was happy that I now had everything I needed for the Broodmother. I then tamed another magic Healy boy and called it a day. Day 62, I found a good leveled Surfactinus, which I tamed by spinning around in circles for several minutes, because to me that was much easier than making a trap. This is like the only thing I enjoyed doing ever since the mad scramble to catch up, so a good addition to my ocean tames overall. The next day I learned that goggles existed. Wow. This was exciting because they let you see underwater. You know, like the exact same thing that they did in the first game too. Then I made a cute little behemoth gateway, which I for some reason gathered resources for it along the beach where there is the least amount of resources present. Efficient. I'm gonna warn you now and say that the next couple days are gonna be, let's say, tedious. You'll notice that I'm not doing a lot during these days, mostly just taking my time setting up a wall for my island lagoon. It's mainly because I was waiting around for things to respawn after a server wipe. Ever since I backed up my server, I was having this issue with the snow biome. I was noticing it had been days since I last saw or even heard a Yudi around my base, which was odd because I'd never had spawning issues before outside of rare creatures like the Phoenix or Gigas. But the whole ass snow biome, devoid of Yudis, they're more common than Argies in that place, for fuck's sake. I wouldn't have mentioned this issue if it was just a one-time thing, but this went on for almost 10 days straight. And trust me when I say I was spending hours cleaning the place out in hopes of opening up a spawn point. Was I just this unlucky? Was it something I did? Did I popcorn too many wood stacks from beaver dens and now the Ark gods are angry at me? Have I killed too many baby animals to the point where I am beyond redemption? What do I need to do? Grow a larger harvest? Sacrifice a lifestro to the sun? Do my penance? Say Hail Mary 3 times? Yeah, so this was an issue. After searching for multiple days on end, I decided I would make a plan. I would continue to search at least every day, clearing spawn points. If I didn't find anything by day 80, then I would just fight the Broodmother and Megapithecus without a Yudi. We would probably be fine. It's about to die. Oh my god. No, it's about to die. Fucking hell! That was a 140. Wow. I am really starting to question why I play this game. Day 70, I figured I was getting closer to finding another good leveled Beauty, so I packed up some gateways, hoping I could get a trap put down before it died. As per the day before, my time spent purging the snow biome was a complete waste. I gave up at around midday and started rebuilding that little climbing wall I told you about earlier in the video. Yeah, you remember, the one I lost after I backed up 9 whole days of progress. The next day, we tried the Yudi thing again. What I found instead was, well, it was pretty okay, I guess. A level 62 baby with some kind of mutation given the colors. Sure, why not? I don't expect you to be much. Okay? Felt a little too easy after what I went through to get it, but here we are. I was still going to look for a higher level, but this was my desperate backup for the moment. Oh, and what's this? Apparently my lucky day. Also, screw you Ark devs, how the hell am I supposed to live like this? No trapping, I can't see without my trapping.
How am I supposed to live, laugh, love in these conditions?
I knew I would need to upgrade my Yudi saddles if I wanted any chance of getting away from these alpha bosses unscathed, so I went on a couple metal runs before the day was done. Also, if you were wondering about how it's just my Ceratos who are bleached white, it's not. Here's another creature from the Dino Additions mod that is also bleached. I have seen very few Ceratosaurus who are not turned Caucasian. It's an issue, I know. I started working on gathering silica pearls for upgrades, and I was going to need a lot of those. Like, a lot. And yes, I did spend an entire day gathering these with my bare hands, fully knowing that taming an anglerfish would make this go much faster. Oh my god! I wanted to start heading towards the artifact of the brute, but my megalodons were still somehow woefully under max health. I wasn't sure how long it would be until they were there, so I spent most of this day killing things to feed my Daedon. Day 75, after some thought, I started the day by hand-picking more silica pearls and not taming an anglerfish. I did find this sneaky cave, though. I did manage to get one Yudi saddle up to apprentice, and just look at how many stacks of pearls I have in here. It's telling me I need more to upgrade. Day 76. I've got a lot on my plate right now, okay? I did a quick XP run for my low-level Yudi, hoping and praying the wolves didn't end it. They didn't, and I went home with some pretty good upgrades on my supposedly low-level Yudi. I decided then I would be using him for the final bosses anyways. I spent another night collecting pearls, though that was not on purpose. When did it become night? When did that happen? By morning, I had enough silica pearls to upgrade my Yudi saddle to, you guessed it, Journeyman. Couldn't get any farther than that. It was good enough. Circle, and we're good. And my guess is we're gonna be fine. That's how I'm gonna deal with this situation. Okay, where is he? Where is he? Where the fuck are we? There he is. Hello. Can you? There we go. That's what I wanted. And I'm stuck. Beat him up. Oh yeah, we are shredding it. Holy, this is also so loud. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, I think we're gonna be fine. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what I was worried about. Just go for it. Just do it. Quickly! Before anyone gets debuffed. Okay, and we're slaughtering them. Fantastic. if you guys can hear me because it's so loud in my headphones right now. We're doing well though. We're doing some good damage. The Broodmother wants to go 3, which is fantastic. Oh yeah. There's nothing to worry about. There was nothing to worry about. There it is. Yay! And we're done with Broodmother. Fantastic. And there it was. Alpha Broodmother is defeated once and for all. Now we can... Oh god, I have to walk everyone back now. This'll be a moment. I had a pretty big break in between now and the final boss battle with the Megapithecus, so I had a bit of time to kill outside of getting trophies and artifacts. Whilst brainstorming, I had to put a few ideas on the back burner because I still needed content for my 200 days video, if only to give me something to do while grinding for whatever boss I was up against. One idea was to finish my greenhouse.
What is that?
Another idea was to expand my current house to something with a roof and 4 walls. Yeah, that sounds good. Let me tame this Ichthyornis first though. Before I did any of that though, I had priorities. My megs were fully healed and ready for a cave run. I made sure to bring all 4 of them on account for any possible underwater monstrosity we might come across. Actually, going into this, it really wasn't all that bad. Not even the very last room with the artifact had anything bigger than a Ichthyornis, so all of that preparation was pretty much for nothing. I spent the rest of the day taming an anglerfish. Yay! The third run, I didn't even bother bringing all of my megs into the cave with me. It was the same situation then as well. We did end up with a whole bunch of silica pearls, so we no longer had that issue with that shortage anymore. While we're on the subject of artifacts, I still needed 2 more. I headed for the next one, the Artifact of the Massive. This one was also perfect for the easy access and viewability of Megalania, of whom I needed to steal their toxin.
No.
Oh, please no. Next stop was the lava cave, as I thought I might find some megas in the area as well. And never mind, it was a good try though. We sailed across the entire world to look at yet another cave I had already been in to search for megatoxin. We found one, but unfortunately there was still more work to be done, like collecting a 3rd artifact. The final artifact resided near the swamp in the middle of the map, and little did I know, this one was going to be a little tighter of a fit than expected. I wasn't about to swim the underground Nile by myself, so there had to be something else I could do. How about I sink an entire day into building a staircase down into that pit down there? Now that's what I call problem solving, or stalling and hyperfixation, whichever one you prefer.
This ape either lived here, or was released when we activated the obelisk. Finding out how it survived in this isolated environment, or how it got here, could prove useful.
My single UD saddle was now upgraded to Mastercraft. I had all 3 artifacts and I was convinced I had everything I needed for the Megapithecus fight. I had all the trophies including Megatoxin, Thericlaws, Meg Teeth, and Thylaclaws. Can you guess which trophy I forgot to list? If you know which one is missing, you'll understand my current frustration. And I thought I had memorized that godforsaken list at the time when I should have never tried frosted by jellyfish brains memories. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, though. How about some good old time wasting, huh? How about some good old XP farming? Or some good old resource gathering and some good old house building? It's never too late to start on that project. All jokes aside, really, I liked building this house. There were a lot of blockades and challenges I needed to work around in order to make any of it look decent and flow into the ruins. A lot of the new building mechanics added into ASA helped with this project, a lot of which I had no idea about until I accidentally witnessed it.
What? But you can't do this to me.
I finished the build by day 91. All I needed to do was transfer a few storage boxes and my bed up to the top floor. The rest of the day I screwed around, acting like I had nothing else to do but waste time. Day 92, I got really comfortable with doing nothing, to the point where I did absolutely nothing for multiple days straight. This was in the middle of finals, so I wasn't actually doing nothing here. I was just studying and trying to work through the in-game days at the same time. I would have forgiven myself for this if I didn't actually have anything else important to do, but I did. Day 96, I got out of my trance and started work again. We would be moving soon, and I wanted to make sure everything was well fed and healthy before I put my energy into the boss for the next few days. This extra UD would be pretty useful as a backup. Lord knows I suck at keeping them alive. On day 97, we were ready to go. Day 98, I actually had to pick up a bit more Megatoxin, but I only really needed like 2 more and the caves had respawned everything in them by now. Day 99, if you don't know which trophy I was missing even after all of my foreshadowing, I'll let you in on the details now. I called to the void and the void came to me. I realized about partway through the day that I needed Spinosaurus sails. There's a major issue there because I don't think I've ever seen more than 4 Spinos on this map at once. It would be a miracle if I even got enough for beta difficulty. Alas, I tarried through this day and through the night trying to find at least 5 Spino sails. After a dino wipe, by midday I had a total of 10 Spinosails. Okay, so only Alpha Megapithecus was possible. That's fine, Beta wouldn't have been that interesting anyway. Let's finish this. But I'll probably, in the next video, I'll probably start with like, oh, we're fucking starting. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, let's go. Let's get them. Hey. Gonna put everyone on passive for the time being. Okay, I was trying to exit the terminal, but I accidentally pressed E instead of F. So, we're doing this now. Yay! Hey, at least we can see, right? At least we can see. Saw me? Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! He's going so fast. Get him. Beat him up. Beat him up. Beat him up. I didn't even courage roar. Oh god. Come on. Oh, it's so loud. So loud. Also, the lag is insane. Why me? dude is not doing well. Okay, yay, we did it! And I totally forgot that we have this. Yay, we definitely need that. And there it is, folks. This 100 days playthrough is finished. The big baddie is dead, and I get to hang his taxidermied head on a wall. Wow. This story isn't over, though. This is only the beginning. The dragon and the overseer still need to be defeated, and then it's off of this ark and onto scorched earth and so on. Make sure to go outside and touch some grass, and I really mean that. I know a lot of people are chronically online, and it can do wonders to put down the internet and just go do something that is good for your brain. Go learn about something new, go make something. I did it, and it's probably not even that good, but it gave me something to put my mind to instead of doom scrolling the internet. Even if it's just for yourself, just go make something. It can only help you. Anyway, lecture over. Have a great day or night, everyone. Hopefully I'll have some actual fireworks for the next video, and I'll see you then.